Hi everyone, welcome to today's show. I am so excited today. I am interviewing Nakita Davis, and Nakita is a best-selling Christian publisher, speaker, author, and business strategist, geared towards helping authors elevate their book and voice into a successful speaker platform that pays. She is married to a childhood sweetheart and the mother of two amazing little kiddos. And how did I go with that introduction? Is there anything you'd like to add?
You were just sampling that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm recording now, but if there's anything you'd like to add to the introduction, then please by all means, or tell
oh
me
my
as well.
gosh. No, no, you did a fantastic job. That is who I am. I am an ordained minister as well. So that's a piece of that as well, strong in my faith. But no, I'm a publisher, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm in business, and I publish some amazing best-selling books. So that's what I do. Yes.
Amazing. And whenever I start these interviews, I always like to start with this one question, and that is, how do you start your day?
Ooh, that is so good. It's actually the name of my publishing house, and it's actually the name of my first book. So it's for me, it's Jesus, Coffee, and Prayer. Like literally, that's why the publishing house is that name, and that's the name of my first book because I start off with my faith, my prayer. I've got to
Mhm.
grab a strong cup of Joe coffee to get my day kicking off. So Jesus, coffee, prayer, that is really just having that time to meditate, to kind of woosah, be reflective of the day ahead. So very much in my faith, having my coffee, and then really I start my day. That's 95% of the time, unless it's like some crazy day where I just have to get up and run out of the door. But that is how I prefer to start my day. Gets me going, gets me pumping.
Yeah, beautiful. I'm a big believer in how you start your day really sets you up for the day, and it's
Mm-hmm.
starting off with like that creation and that like spiritual aspect or whatever it is for you is so like
Right.
so important. I love it. I mean, I have a 5-month old, so sometimes that doesn't happen straight away right now, but I do my best. Um,
Right.
and what compelled you to become like a publisher and speaker and all the beautiful things you do?
Well, I really believe a lot in, a divine appointment. And again, a lot of what I do is faith-based and in me believing in Jesus Christ and just being ordained. So I think back to when I was a kid, really and truly, I loved reading. I love writing. I was that, quote unquote nerd that my mom would come in the room. And I remember distinctively her coming in the room sometimes and telling, I have an older sister, telling us to go to bed. And I would say, okay. And at the time I had my glasses on, before contacts were all popular. And I'd say, okay. And she would leave out, and I would be that kid that would take the blanket over my head with a flashlight and would still read books, right?
Yeah.
And at the time, it was Goosebump books. That's what was the popular thing. R.L. Stein,
Yeah.
So I was reading those books. So I always loved to read, always loved to write. I was also that kid in class, grammar school, middle school, high school, when we got to the poetry section in English class. I love poetry. And my teacher knew I was always outspoken. I've never been shy. That's just who God created me to be. And so she would come to me and she would say, Nakita, you got something for us? And she would ask me. And I would say, yeah, because I always wrote poetry. And so I would recite poetry to my entire class. So when I think of where I am today as an adult, even as a wife, even as a mom, that's been always in my DNA to read and the love of writing. So it's
Mm.
kind of ironic because growing up, I promise you, it was not a publisher. Now, I always knew I wanted to be a writer, and I always knew I wanted to be a best-selling author. I always saw myself mentally being at a Starbucks with my laptop, typing with coffee or drink, and that's what it was going to be. But it morphed into being a publisher after I went on my first book tour. So I wrote my book, Jesus, Coffee, and Prayer, which is a 14-day devotional, encouraging people to have an attitude of gratitude always, no matter what the situation is. Like even in the time that we're living in now, there's
Yeah.
something grateful for every single day. Like if you opened your eyes, let's start there, right? But
I
so
agree.
anywho, I started going on tour, meeting other women, you know, book signings and things like that. And I would meet other women who would buy my book and they would tell me how they were working on a book also. And I would say, okay, you're buying my book. How can I patronize you? Oh, my book isn't out yet. And I would say, oh, okay, well, when is it coming out? What is it about? Oh, well, and that's when the murmurs and just little excuses started to come in around. And I started to notice it like over and over again when I would go to book signings. And it was almost like a eureka. Like, wait a minute, why are these women not writing their books? Why are they not sharing their stories? What
Mm.
is holding them back from doing what they feel God has called them to do, what they feel that they know they should do? What's stopping them? And that's really how it morphed. I got my first client. We published her book, became a bestseller, and then it just, the momentum began, started getting other opportunities. And like within 10 months, I had 27 best-selling authors
Wow.
from my publishing house. So I knew it was anointed. It was like totally not on the radar to be a publisher. I knew I was going to be an author, but there's a difference between being an author,
Mm.
even an entrepreneur, and being a publisher. And so it was like, you're to write, but you're to help other people to write and birth their story. So that's really where it came from. That was a long answer, but that's
Oh,
really the
I love
answer.
it. Yeah, no, I love
Yeah.
it. It's just so interesting, and it's, I've always loved writing and reading and stuff, and was the same as a kid, just like hiding my books and stuff.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I just
Yes.
I'm so interested in that process of like being a publisher and like stepping into that,
Mhm.
because it sounds like it just was like guided for you to do this. And how did you like find yourself for falling into that and doing something when you potentially hadn't done that before, and taking that
Well,
leap of faith?
yeah. Well, and that's exactly what it was. Well, just through my process, because my first book was self-published. So it really became, again, it started off selfishly, me learning and going through the process to write my own book and getting help. So again, going back to when I was a kid, quote unquote nerd, so did really, really well in school, always loved to read, always loved to write, but I always loved to learn. So like a sponge for information. So I began to do my research. And the reality is I should have did it a long time ago, but finally what really put it into play was the birth of my son. My son is 2, he'll be 3 this year.
Yeah.
And so my first book came out in 2018 in February, but it's like I found this love again while I was pregnant with him. I found this regained love of writing. Like I wrote before, I read before, but I was also in corporate America, very, very busy in management, leadership, you know, doing many different projects, leading teams and things of that nature. So it kind of got pushed to the side. It's like having that first love and pushing that love to the side, but
Yeah.
then finding it again. And so when I became pregnant with my husband and I, our son, which we have an older daughter who's 12, so talking almost a 10-year gap, wasn't expecting that. I mean, we prayed about it and all of that, but I'm just saying, you know, after 10 years, you're like, okay. So long story short, it was like this love, this rebirth. So it's like, it's so not coincidental, but I really believe it's ordained, the birth of my son and then the birth of my book, you know, within, you know, a year time span. So it's just that renewed love came and I had the time. So I told myself, my husband and I had another child, we had another baby, I would take that time from work. When I had my daughter, I did not. I mean, I took, you know, it's not like I had the baby and went to work the next day. I took the 6 weeks, 8 weeks, or whatever they give you.
Yeah.
But I always said, I felt, or I think I took 3 months with her, but I always said, you know, if we ever have a child again, I want to take at least a full year. And so I took that year. So having him gave me that good excuse to have that hiatus. But while I was having that hiatus, I was able to birth my book. I was able to do the research, take the time to figure out the editing and the book cover and the ISBNs and the copyright. Like it's a bunch of stuff and it can be overwhelming to someone who A, doesn't know what they're doing, or B, doesn't have the time. Because I think of myself, I was intelligent, but my time was small. And the only reason I was really able to do it was because I was given that window when I gave birth to my son, if that makes
Um,
sense. And so I was able to take that time that most adults don't have. I mean, they have it now, right? But that they didn't have or don't have. And I was able to put it towards learning what has become my business. if
Mm.
that makes sense. So it was really helping me. And now I said, wait a minute, some of the excuses the women were giving me as to why they weren't doing it, whether it was money, whether it was time, whether it was who's going to buy my book, who's going to believe in me, nobody's going to buy this, all those negative thoughts, I was able to crush that and show them in a simple way of how I can help them. And now I have a team and all these other things that have come to pass, but it was just little by little. And that's really how it morphed into that, having that time.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so when you wrote your book yourself, you didn't have like a mentor, you just learned it all yourself.
I mean, yeah, like, I mean, I found an editor. I mean, it was a lot of vetting. And so, again, I don't want to make this like, oh, I'm just saying get with me for publishing, but I just want to be transparent.
Yeah.
It was a lot of vetting that I know working my full-time job, I personally would not have had the time to do the vetting to find the editor, which is highly important. People think, oh, I just go to Amazon and put it up there. Well, you can technically. Now,
Mm.
you can put anything you want up there. So, you can, but if you want it to actually sell, if you actually want to make something of integrity and quality, then you're gonna have to either be really good at all of these things that make up a book on your own, or you're gonna have to leverage the resources and pay someone where needed, that's a professional in those areas if you want something quality, if you want something that's gonna last, if you want something that you're going to be proud of 2 years from now, 5 years from now, or if you want to become a bestseller, if you want to leverage that book to be an expert in your business. So I just happen to have the time to do it. And now that I know, obviously, what I'm doing and who to partner with, I'm able to help other women kind of skip through all that mumbo jumbo that confuses you and gives you a
Mm.
headache and makes you quit, so they can get to what they really wanted, which is to birth that book. So yeah.
Amazing. And so in light of that, what would you say your like mission on your heart is?
Oh yeah, by all means. I mean, hence I know there's different faiths and I love everybody. That's just who I am and who I am in God. I love everyone. But for me, obviously the name of my publishing company is Jesus Coffee and Prayer. So it's to glorify God, it's to edify queens. I say queens, I'm talking about women. That's who I feel I'm called to. I love men too. I have a husband. I have a son, so I don't want anybody to think, oh, she's feminist. I'm not. I love everyone, but my heart, my mission, my niche is to glorify God, edify women by helping them drop the excuses, play their royal position, and really birth their book. So I want him to be glorified. I want to edify them, make them feel that they can do it. You can do it, step out on faith, and then show them how to do it. So that's
Mm.
really my mission. I want to empower them through a best-selling literary platform with Jesus Coffee and Prayer.
Yeah, amazing. And what hurdles have you personally faced and how did you overcome them?
Oh, a billion.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of hurdles, right? Anytime
Yeah.
you're doing, I mean, right, you think about your podcast and, having your 5-month-old baby. Trust me, again, my son is only 2 now, so I'm not too far removed in the head to know what that's like, right? So for me, it was at first it was juggling just that, right? Being a wife, already had my older daughter, but then my son. So leveraging, and balancing the best way that I could between loving my profession and what I felt and feel that God has called me to do, and still being able to nurture my son, newborn baby, and take care of hubby and my daughter. So I feel like a lot of times women are put in that place of we're trying to wear all these hats and be everything to everybody. And that's cool, but we can't forget who we are, whose we are, and ourselves, taking care of ourselves. So that was the biggest hurdle. And I'm not even going to say that I'm arrived yet in that area, because that's an ongoing thing. And it's never really a linear balancing act. Like if you think of something, oh, balance. No, it's shifts, it's prioritization. In this season, I may, of course, my family is always going to be first, but in a particular season, I may be in a very busy season in my business. I may need to say, hey, honey, if you could do XYZ with the kids just a little bit more for me, because perfect example. This matter of fact, today, this past weekend, I had an amazing women conference that I hosted. So Jesus Coffee and Prayer, we hosted our first virtual summit. It was a women win author and business summit. So we had best-selling authors, women who were making moves in business, put them on a platform. It was 18 women total, including myself. They came on, they gave powerful nuggets, wisdom about authorship, how to be a best-selling author, how to write your own book, their journey, how they were excelling in business. They just walked away and gave my audience some great nuggets and tips. So in doing that, that took some time because it was 2 days and it was virtual. So hubby had to man down the kids. So in that season, yes, are they important? Are my kids important and all of that? But I had to shift and say, hey, can you help me here? At this time, I need to spend more time on my business and the things that I've already committed to help empower these women. Let's be a team and you take care of the kids while mommy does this. So it's just the shift in the prioritization. So that would be the biggest hurdle because we want to be successful and we want to empower other women to be successful too. And that's in their spirituality, that's in their health, their mental, all of the things above. But we got to start by taking care of us first. So that's the biggest hurdle that's continuous. I don't think ever ending, but that would be the biggest hurdle for me and what I do.
Yeah, I'm nodding because I really resonate with that. And, I've got a 4-year-old and the baby. And so as well, like the juggle and the prioritizing and making time for my business. And then my partner has a business too. And so we're constantly, having to make really powerful, clear requests. And I'm a big believer in making requests
Clear.
actually, but they have to be clear. Yeah.
Crystal.
Clear and
They do.
specific. Yeah. And I've talked about that in some other episodes of my podcast because I'm really passionate about doing it in an
Mm-hmm.
effective way that is going to give you that time to work on your stuff. But also then you can do the exchange of being present with your kids as well. And it's it is a real juggle, but it's so worth doing. And there's so much reward when
Absolutely.
you do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So why do you feel it's important to say yes to the calling in your life?
Oh man. You know what? The selfish reason would be because if it's the calling, then you have to say yes, right? You saying no or delaying it or derailing it is essentially stopping you from your destiny because the key word in that is your calling. It's not saying say yes to your liking, right? I'm
Yeah.
not saying say yes because it sounds nice. Say yes to your calling. So it's being real clear. There's that word again, being really clear about who you are, whose you are, what you've been called to do, who's your tribe on this earth before you leave. No time soon, amen. But no time soon, it's just who are you called to impact? Like even with your podcast, even with what I do, I know I'm called to impact. There are people in the world, in the universe that I'm supposed to impact before it's all said and done. And so the selfish reason is to say you're going to slow or stop or negate your destiny. But the reality is, it's never about us. We are a part of the bigger ecosystem. And so it's a domino effect. Somebody needs me to say yes so they can say yes to their calling.
I love that.
If I don't say yes, then they may not get to where they need to be. You never know who's looking up to you. It's not like you're some idol or some false, deity or anything like that. It's just you're a human being and people do look up to you, especially now more than ever with social media. You never know what girls or young ladies are looking up to you and they're like, wow, I want to be just like her. She's cool. She's got the kids. She's got her partner. She's got her podcast. Now they don't see all the weeds and the sleepless nights and all the crazy that happens, but you've got to say yes because when you do, you free someone else. You give someone else permission to dream big, to do, to be creative, to be, everything that they're called to be. So yes, it's for me, but the bigger picture is I know there is a bigger picture and I'm a piece of the puzzle. So I have to say yes and be obedient to that so that another young lady can say yes to what she's called to do. It's a domino effect.
Yeah, definitely. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and what was the catalyst for you to say yes to your calling?
I mean, again, I really kind of go back to what I said. I always knew that I was supposed to do it. I just finally was obedient to the calling that was over my life. But really, the spark and the change really came with the pregnancy of my son. It was almost like an awakening, almost like a aha. You're a mother of two as well. You look at the world just so slightly different once you're bringing in another life. Of course, I had my daughter. It had been some time, but it was just another fresh moment, a fresh awakening. And it was just like, I'm birthing my son and I'm finally going to do what I know God has been told me to do, which is to birth my book. I did not know that that was leading to all of this, 27 best-selling authors. Matter of fact, just a book just released today. I mean, I've got more books coming out than I have fingers and toes, literally like a book coming out. Pray, Slay, and Collect is the name of a book. It's an anthology coming out on the 31st. And so it's just, I had to do it because I knew it was my calling. And really the birth of my son really just said, you know what, you're birthing your son, you're going to birth this book.
Yeah.
It was just like, I knew that, but it was like a click, you know what I mean? So that was it for me.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's so true, you don't know you when you follow that calling and that next step and stuff, you don't always know, rarely know the big picture. You just know you take one step and then like
Mm-hmm.
one little part of the picture appears, and then like take another and something else reveals itself. So it's always like revealed to you slowly, and often I've found in my experience especially, it never looks like I thought it was going to look, but it's often better. Um,
Oh, always, every single time, and that's
mm,
the beautiful part. And that's why you've got to say yes. You got to say yes to the adventure,
mm,
and you got to trust your instincts. You got to trust, again, in my case, my faith is strong, and I just trust that I'm being led the right way. Like, the Lord, He orders my steps. He's like a light to my feet. So it's just like, say yes to this, I mean, at the end of the day, it's almost, I hate to say morbid, but I look at things on what's the worst thing that can happen? What if
mm,
as long as I'm living, no matter what happens, as long as the end result is I'm still breathing, then I have another chance, whatever it is. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, if I
mm.
do it and it's an epic fail, okay, well, is it really a fail? It's only an epic fail if I don't learn, if I
Yeah,
don't grow from it. So excuse me, I bit my tongue, but as long as I learn, as long as I grow from it, then it's not a failure. It's just a lesson. And so I just have to apply that.
yeah, totally, totally. Um, and how did you let go of your fear? Because I'm sure I have a lot of listeners, and I mean I've experienced it too, when you've got to take a big next step or a big leap of faith, and there's fear there, and it can be hard to overcome that.
Again, I know it's like, oh my gosh, she's sounding like a broken record, but I just really, for me, my faith is so strong. It's not that I don't fear. This is the thing. People think when you say you have faith, that means you don't fear. No, it doesn't. It means I might have fear, but against that fear, I'm still going to trust. You understand? So people think, well, you have fear. So having faith is the absence of fear. That's false. Having faith means that you're going to still do it regardless, nonetheless. So even though I'm afraid of what the outcome might be, I might fail, I might not get, for someone, it might be the promotion that they want to apply for, it might be the new business that they want to start. It might be the book that they want to write. Oh my gosh, what's going to happen? What are people going to say? What if they think I'm stupid? What if they, I'm revealing some things. Many of the women that I've had the opportunity and been blessed to work with, they're sharing some deep things. They've gone through some deep things in their life, whether that was abuse, physical abuse,
Mm,
abuse as a child, sexually, homelessness, survivors of breast cancer. I mean, real stuff. Like, when you have the opportunity to work with women who are overcomers in these areas, and they're still ticking and they're still breathing and they're still winning and they're still pressing towards the mark, it gives you an amazing perspective over the little things that you were worried about, over the little things. Oh my gosh, I didn't wash dishes today. this woman just fought cancer stage 4 and is
Mm,
fighting, and you over here talking about the dishes. We talking about dishes, just like the little, it puts perspective.
yeah.
This woman was in a domestic relationship for 6 years, where she was literally fighting for her life every day, and I'm fussing about, or I'm worried about what? So I'm saying all that to say that having faith doesn't mean that you're not afraid, but it's saying, you know what I'm called to do, going back to that calling, what
Mm,
I'm called to do is so important that I cannot allow fear to stop me. I have to know that on the other side of me doing whatever it is, whether it's the book, the business, the podcast, the job, going back to school, whatever it is, that it's a part of my destiny. And if I don't do it, not only am I letting myself down, but I'm potentially letting several people down that were looking to me to do what I'm supposed to do. So
mm,
it's one of those things, like, you just look fear in the face and you laugh. You say, you know what, I am scared, but I'm about to do it anyway. So,
yeah.
yeah. So that's really what I would say. Just take a hard look and say, do it. Do it. You only get one life here on this side of earth. So make it your best. Why would you want to leave and you still had untapped dreams? You still had untapped visions. You still had untapped things and places and people to see and to meet and things to do. Why would you live in this shell? Now, I get right now, please be safe, okay? Don't do anything crazy. We got craziness going on in the world with the
Yeah.
pandemic. Now, let's be smart. I'm not saying that, okay? But I am saying, live your best blessed life and just look at fear and laugh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and how would you build that faith? Because I definitely know that like I have some listeners who are like really spiritual
sure.
and stuff, but there's some that possibly
Don't,
aren't. So like
right. No, I got you. So what I would say is, right, so obviously for the faith-based woman, then she probably already knows. I would say prayer, meditation, but even the woman, I would say, because again, at the end of the day, even though I am a Christian, even though I am a minister, I love everyone. And my whole thing is I'm supposed to show my light and my love wherever I go. So I don't frown upon anyone. I don't look down on anybody, because at the end of the day, people are people. We both bleed red, okay?
mhm,
So in that, I love everyone. And so what I would say is, for those who are not quote unquote spiritual, I would still say find solace in a quiet space where
mm,
there's solace. Put you on whatever, I don't know, whatever your music is. Me, I do love gospel, but even if I love jazz, it's soothing to
mm,
me. It's
yeah,
so find that melodic feel that's calming. This is scientific things. Even for someone who may not be religious, scientifically, you can look up the calming effects of soothing music. So whether that be classical, whether that be jazz, whether that be your Bach or Beethoven or whatever the case may be, whether it be the sound of the rainforest, right? Maybe you don't like any of those. Everybody loves the sound of rain. They put you to sleep. Everybody knew that. Go to
yeah,
sleep. Go to sleep good. It was raining this morning. I was sleeping good. Then I had some meetings, so then I had to get up. But I'm sorry. But the point they're trying to make is find you some soothing find you some soothing music. It could be the rain. It could be, I've heard all the rainforests. And so find you soothing music. Take you time to get out of the chaos. So if it's too
yeah,
busy, fast paced at work, or maybe even at home, maybe you have to separate. I'm not saying that you seclude yourself and go into isolation. What I'm saying is take that pause, that intentional pause to regather your thoughts, think things through, journal, right?
mhm,
Therapeutically, I've got several friends that are therapists and women and queens that bless them, and they bless me, and I've published their book, that are doctors and who are therapists, and they talk about it all the time. It's therapeutic to journal.
it is
Right,
definitely. Mhm,
right. So if I'm speaking to someone specifically who is not quote unquote religious or spiritual, I'm still going to say to you to find that quiet space and moment, not seclusion where you hiding from the world, but just take that pregnant pause. Listen to some soothing music, whether that's your jazz, whether that's your neo soul, whether that's your raindrops or what have you. Listen to that. Get your pen and paper and write whatever comes to your mind. Write it out, whatever it is,
mm,
write it out. It's angry words. write it out and then tear it up, right? If sometimes I found, and I was on a show probably about a year ago, but they asked, because I was working in the corporate sector, right? And you can't share all your religious views in those places. And so if I was upset, I gave an example. I said, I would write the letter up, I would type it up, but then I would not send it. Right? It's okay. So if you have to get it out, it's how you get it out. If you go in there and go crazy, you're gonna lose your job. Okay. So write it out, speak it out, type it out, but just get it out. And then once you read those words and you see that they're destructive, then you can get rid of them. So that's what I would say. Take time to pause, think, therapeutic music, write it out. And then when it comes to fear, okay, let's really write this thing out. Whatever it is you say you're afraid of, write down why you're afraid of it. Write down all the things that could happen if you do this. So if it's writing your book, let's write it out. What could happen if you write this book? Write it out. XYZ, XYZ. Okay, now tell me on the flip side, the positive side, if you write this book, what could happen? What could be?
Yeah, I love that.
You see? So yeah, so it's just being logical, because fear is false evidence appearing real. Many people have said that, the acronyms. So let's really write it out on what really could happen if you start that business. What really would happen if you go back to school? What really would happen if you did XYZ? So just being logical in a calming place, writing it out, breathing, all the breathing techniques, and that's going to help you make a better decision, especially when you feel like it's something you're called or you were created to do. So that would be my response, even for someone who's not a believer. That's what I would say.
Thank you for sharing that. It's really useful.
Absolutely.
Really useful. And why would you encourage someone to write a book?
Oh man, for all the amazing reasons, right? I mean, it's fun, right? I'll start from the top again. If you feel that this is what you've been called to do and you've got a voice, then this is one of the mediums that you can use to share it outside of just speaking. You can share it and put it in a book. What I love a lot of times when I talk to my ladies, I call them my queens, because I do believe they're queens in Christ and they're royalty and all that good jazz. But it's about building your legacy. Like a book is one of those things, just like a musician, when they create a CD, or, well, I guess people don't do CDs now, but whatever, when they create the music, okay, it lives on forever. It's the same thing with your book. It lives on forever. So your children, your kids, or, nieces or nephews or what have you, like once you write it, it's in the atmosphere forever. Unless you go on there and take it down, it's there. So it's in the earth. It's your thoughts, which means it's valid. It may not be valid to everybody in every situation, but if you felt it, it was valid, and you need to express it. I say express it. What my team does is we help you express it in such a way that you feel good about it, and the real message that you want to get out comes out. So I would say it's therapeutic. If you know you're called to do it, then you just need to do it. It is fun, very rewarding mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, if you do it right. I help people do that too, so they can really understand. I tell people all the time, a book is not just a book is a business, and it's a good business if you do it right. There's several pieces to it, and I host classes and master classes and things of that nature to help people to truly monetize their passion, turn their passion into a paycheck, that can continue to feed them and their family. But again, the other thing is your legacy. Create that legacy.
Yeah, I love that. It really is. And imagine like having great grandchildren or something read something you've written, and just like going down those generations. That's just such a gift.
Exactly. Like that's different. My daughter is 12, and we've already talked about it. Like, mommy is going to help her. How can I be a publisher and not help her birth her book? So we're going to, at some point, now I want her to want to do it. I don't want it to be like I'm forcing my dream on her, but she's very creative as well. And we definitely are talking about working on her having her book, just from her perspective. She's a great kid, does well in school, courteous, great marks from the teachers, and she gives back in the community and things like that when we volunteer. And so I tell her all the time, you don't realize it, but you're a leader, and I'm not going to say she doesn't realize it. She knows she's a leader, but I don't think she knows to what degree other kids look up to her. And so even at 12, you have a voice and you have words of wisdom for a 12-year-old, for another 12-year-old, or somebody who's 10, right? Who's going to, so they still somebody looking up to somebody. And there are kids that are looking up to you. And so you can speak that positive life peer to peer. It's one thing when an adult says it, okay, this is what you should do, this is what you should do. But when another friend, another peer can tell you in a loving way and you look up to them, then maybe not that they want to change and be like you, but maybe some of the positive attributes that she possesses, they will want to possess for themselves so they can be better as well.
Yeah, and
So
that
we're definitely going to do that. I'm going to pass that thing down. We're writing these books up in
oh,
here. Okay.
oh, your daughter's lucky to have a mama like you. Definitely,
Oh,
both your
thank you.
kids. That's so, I love that.
Yeah, my
Um,
2-year-old, he'll just tear the pages right now. He's not ready for it
yeah.
right now, but he'll look at the piece of paper and he'll grab the pen and he'll be sweet with it, and then I'll be like,
Yeah.
okay, give me back the book, give me the book, give me the book. Okay.
Yeah, my baby girl would just eat them too.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and so what was I going to ask? Why should women, like, how would you support women birthing their book or beginning their journey as like an author or speaker?
Now say that first part again. I'm sorry, I didn't catch you.
Why would it be really valuable for women to connect with you personally?
Oh, yes. Okay, absolutely. Well, I mean, for several reasons, I like to say that I'm pretty all right, you know.
Yeah,
Uh,
I love your energy. Oh,
thank you, thank you. But no, honestly, for several reasons. So the specific woman that does business with me for her book, she typically is a woman of faith, right? Because
yeah,
that's who I am, obviously, in my book. So typically, if she's a woman of faith and she wants someone that has similar biblical principles or a foundation, then that's a check mark for her because that's who I am. So that's always nice to know when someone has a strong faith or similar to you so they can resonate with you. And
yeah,
then a big piece is that I care. A lot of times and I'm not speaking negatively of the big juggernaut publishers, but I just have to speak from my own experience. That's all I can do. All I have is my experience. And my experience is that they're great, but that personal human touch, my company provides that. Literally, we work with folks from A to Z, or I'm from the South in the United States. So my mama used to say from the rooter to the tutor, which would be from the back to the front.
yeah,
So yes, and so that just simply means we help you from start to finish. Like I've worked with some women who had working manuscripts that were ready to go, and I've worked with some women who all they had was a thought. It was just an ideation, and we partnered and got it out, pulled it out, worked it out, trimmed it up, and got it beautiful. And then in the end, I have one of my books here, but then in the end, we had a book, So coming to them or coming with them to help them to see that where they have it in their hands and like, this is yours. So I really help walk them through that process, make them feel comfortable. They know what steps we're taking each step of the way, so if there's anybody that's following me or looking, they can just read. I mean, the reviews really speak for themselves on my Facebook
yeah,
page and on my personal page. I didn't pay anybody to give me reviews. I didn't give them a discount to give me a review. I just said, hey, we did this process. If you mind giving me a review. Some do, some don't, but they
yeah,
all were happy. But so I'm just saying they want to connect with me because they love my personality.
yeah,
I'm knowledgeable. I'm experienced. I have a team and we get results. When I call out and I say, oh, we've got the best-selling books, here's the deal with that. It's not about necessarily the title per se, but think of it like this. This is how I explain it to people. You think about the NBA or you think about the football leagues or things of that nature. Most of those men probably make millions of dollars anyway. So let's take money out of the equation. Yes, they want to win, but they're in the game because they want to win the NBA championship ring or they want to win the Super Bowl. That's just the bottom line. Like nobody shows up to play football to I just want to make it to the playoffs and then I want us to lose.
Yeah.
Or I just want to make it to the XYZ and then we can go home.
Yeah.
Nobody is going to say that. If we're going to do it, if you're going to take the time, the effort, the energy, you're going to invest physically, mentally, and financially, because it does cost, it's not free. If you're going to do those things, then let's make it a quality product that is going to behoove you and your family. So if we can grab that best-selling title and help market you and promote you in such a way that other people pick up your book, now they know your mission, now they know what your goals are, now they know who you are as an expert in your business, then I want to help my audience and my clients be able to do that. So when women partner with me, they know I'm a woman of faith, they know I get it done, and really most importantly, I help them get results.
Mm. Yeah, I love that as well. And so what makes you feel inspired or like your best self?
Um, you know, really, I'll say again, it kind of goes back to the Jesus coffee and prayer, but being grounded in who I am and knowing that I'm living purposefully, that means a lot to me.
Yeah.
That's how I know I'm walking in my best self. Of course, the simple things like getting sleep and getting rest and spending some time with my family, those things are important to me, but I'm operating in my best self, excuse me, really and truly, if I think about it, is when I'm serving others. So when I am allowing my platform to bless other people, when I'm allowing my gifts, my talents, whether I'm speaking, whether I'm publishing books to bless other people, that's when I'm at my best self.
Yeah. And what's your favorite book and why?
Oh, wow. Well,
I have to ask you
yeah, let's
that.
see. Yes, you have to ask me that. I guess I'm a little biased. Okay, well, I guess I say the Bible. That sounds like a great answer. But out of my collection, obviously, it's going to be my book. I mean, Jesus Coffee and Prayer, because it was my baby. And I wrote it and I poured my heart into it, and I got great reviews, and women were blessed by it. I would say that. And really, there's so many books that are great. I'm honest with you. It's not just one set outside of my genre, so to speak. I find beauty in many books. Like I said, at heart, I'm a poet. As a matter of fact, my first bestseller from my book, even though it's a devotional book, I got bestseller in the category of African poetry because in the book, it was a devotional, but I had poetry in there. And so that was the piece that was the bestseller because, they have different categories. And so I am a lover of literacy. So it's not just one set book, but, just write what's on your heart. So I would say nonfiction, but just write what's on your heart. As long as you are empowering other people, then I'm going to probably love the book, even though I don't have time to read many times other people's books because I'm too busy publishing my people book.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, totally. And is there anyone that if you could meet anyone, is there anyone that you would love to meet that's like dead or alive?
Um, well, at the appointed time, of course, Jesus, I want to meet him. But as far as an outside of the religious answer, hmm, um, I would love to meet the Obamas, of course. I think that would be pretty cool. I had the opportunity from the corporate sector. They have like a volunteer program. And so if you do so many hours, then you can get recognized. And I thank God I was recognized twice by President Obama for the President Volunteer Service Award. And so I thought that was pretty cool, where you got like the official letter and his signing, got like a little pendant. So I got that his last year in term and the year before that. So I thought that was pretty neat. But I would love to meet them in person. I think they're an awesome couple. They have so much swag. And I think they're awesome.
Yeah, me too. And what do you wish you'd known when you started out?
Starting out, gosh, everything I know now, so I could have saved some money. No, stop. Just to be patient, because the world we live in is such microwave popcorn overnight success. That's what we want, and that's what we expect, instant gratification. Just to know, it's a process, but really understand the process, because if you allow yourself to embrace the process, you will have a better perspective. It will be more fulfilling to you. It will be of more value to you. And when you finally get to whatever place you're striving to get to, you'll be even more so happy because you embrace the process. So that would be with my book, and really just anything in general in my life. And I'm glad now I'm getting to a place where I'm embracing the process. I'm stopping to smell the roses now, so to speak,
Yeah.
instead of just saying what's next, what's next, what's next, because I'm good for that, because I am very ambitious and passionate about what I do. And it's like, okay, we did that, what's next? Okay, wait, can we just say that this was good, and let's smell the roses on that, and let's say, so I'm still not yet there, but I'm getting there on that one.
Yeah. Is there anything you do differently?
Good question. Other than just to have done it sooner, right? Again, I knew since I was a child that this, maybe not a publisher, but the path of authorship and all of these things that it in detailed, I just would have done it sooner.
Yeah.
Like, I allowed at one point my love and thought process of wanting to climb the corporate ladder, so to speak, to sidetrack me from who I already knew God had called me to be. And once I really tapped into that, I was able to create the lifestyle that I have now. Not that I'm a millionaire yet. In Jesus' name, I'm claiming that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But just the lifestyle of where, I can be that full-time entrepreneur, I can be a full-time mom, I can be a full-time wife, and I can still bless my community, my tribe, and those that I was designed to bless. So I would have done it sooner.
Mhm. Yeah, I really like that answer. And is there anything right now that you're really curious about?
Hmm. You know what? I am a creative by nature. So my husband laughs. He always says, like, there's a hamster wheel right here that's always like, even when we're trying to rest, I'm like, baby, did you see XYZ? Did you know? I'm like this
Yeah.
walking information house, just throwing out information at 3 in the morning. Oh, baby, we should try this. Or what about this in the business? And so I'm always curious, but it is always with the end goal purpose of those same big rocks that I told you about earlier, which is for God to get the glory, for me to edify queens, and then for me to be able to bless my tribe, so to speak, to build that legacy. So I'm always curious with those things, and I enthusiastically say yes to a lot of things, not everything, but the right things. And that has been a big key to a lot of my success, because I just told somebody the other day, I said a big key to my success when I look over my life and I think things over is because I haven't been afraid to fail. Fear
Mm,
cripples people. Because I'm not afraid to fail, I'm actually successful.
yes. Mm,
So that means I'm going to do things that people say, oh no, you're going to fail. And I would say, well, okay, worst case scenario, and all those things I talked about earlier. It's all good. Let's just step out on faith and let's do it. And that has overall, more times than not, has led to my success.
And how do you know what the right thing is for you? Like, how do you feel that or trust that?
Right. I mean, again, for me, it really stems from my faith. There's two things that I pray for. Like I said, I start off with my Jesus coffee and prayer. So that just means me having that meditative mind, that moment, reading my Bible, praying, drinking my coffee. I go with my gut. And for me, that's my Holy Spirit, the Holy Spirit telling me to move and to do things and to make big decisions, right? So I just go with that. Plus, I take into account my years of experience. I mean, I was in corporate America for almost 15 years, and I worked at home and I traveled the country and international. So I have a lot of skill set that I feel like a lot of times women take that for granted. Like, sis, you are way smarter than you think. You know way more than you think. If you would just sit down and kind of throw out everything that you know. You're really good with systems. You're great at organization. You're great at, so you actually have like a crazy great skill set. You just need to sit down and realize that you're actually really good. And you probably have a business, a multi-million-dollar business on your hand if you would sit down, write it out,
Mm,
do your meditative, pray about it, etc., and then take those steps to make it flourish.
mm, yeah.
So I
Um,
guess I'm saying I let go and let God. That's what I do. So,
yeah.
and then I just roll with it. And then, I'm not
Yeah.
afraid to fail.
Yeah. And if you could remove all like obstacles, barriers, constraints, what would you love to work on, like a project or be known for?
Well, definitely I want to be known. I'm still building my publishing empire, international speaker, and all of that. So those are great things. Those are titles. But really, at the end of the day, I just want to be known as being a good person. Meaning, you know what, Nakita, she's all right. She cares. She loves hard. She works hard. She loves her family. She's strong in her faith. That's really what I want to be known for, but it can be known for through my publishing, through my speaking, through my civic duties, things of that nature. But I would love to one day, if she's ever listening, I would love to take the stage with Sarah Jakes. She's a preacher, well known, but she's beautiful. She has so much swag. She's really, really cool, kind of like a millennial type. And I think she's phenomenal. I don't idolize her because I don't idolize anybody, but I think she's phenomenal. She's a powerful woman of God and she speaks with authority. I love that. And so to connect with her or other like women, who are like-hearted, like-minded like that, that would be great. But I just have a thought process that the sky is the limit. Like I really don't see a cap or a
Oh, um, it looks like um, Nakita has dropped out. So I will just see if she comes back in. And if not, then I'm so grateful for this conversation. It's been so amazing. Um, but yeah, I feel like there's been so much value in this conversation today with Nakita, and I've really, really, really loved all of it. Just, what she was saying about creating space to really tune into yourself and just be alone with yourself and listen to music and tune in and meditate. That's something I'm a huge advocate of, and journaling. So journaling deep into your feelings and tuning really into them. It's so, so valuable and so important. And yeah, I am really, really grateful for that. I am going to see if I can get Nakita back on so we can finish our conversation. I don't usually edit the podcast, but of course, in this situation, I think I am going to because I don't want there to be a really big gap in between. So this is the part of the process. This is totally like being in the process and trusting and having faith, because it's not always perfect. Sometimes it's messy, and this is just such a perfect example of that right now. Like, we're live recording this, not live streaming but recording it, and there's been a little technical hiccup, which is totally fine. um but it's about the journey and about the adventure of it, and showing up anyway, because it's always a gift. And like, this conversation has been such a gift to me. And Nakita is back, so I will let her in, and I'm still recording, Nakita. I've just been chatting, filling the space, knowing that you would come back. So and this, I was just saying that this is just such a part of the trusting and taking that
Can
leap
you
of
hear me
faith.
okay?
It's not always going to be perfect. Sometimes it will be
I,
messy.
oh,
um
that's so good. The perfect example of that. And I thank you while I got my computer plugged back up here. Because like I said, I literally just had a 2-day virtual summit and it was just so amazing. We had almost 250 registered guests for the 2 days and
wow.
combination that joined, and it was a free event. And like I said, it was all about encouraging women of faith to write that book and to pour out, because that's what I do. I'm a publisher, and also to start their business. So it wasn't just authorship, it was really any business. Like, just do it. Like, this is the time during this pandemic. We're at home for a reason. Like, you should come out of this whenever they lift it up and say that we're free to move about the world again, then you should have something tangible that you can bring to the world if you haven't already done it while we were in the midst. So a perfect example, as I speak to you today on this actual recording, I'm supposed to be on a plane right now to Africa. I
Wow.
had a program, absolutely, where I was asked to be a keynote speaker. It was a global Women of Influence and Leadership Summit in Accra, Ghana. So my flight was leaving tonight at approximately 8:50 p.m.
Yeah.
Landing, was going to have an overlay in Paris, and then I was going to be in Ghana from the 1st through the 5th. And then after that, I was scheduled to do a pop-up shop in Paris. So I was going to hang out in Paris, France for a couple days and then
Yeah.
fly back to the States. Obviously, couldn't do that. So it's been postponed. So I say that to say, you only get one life. You have to step out on faith. One thing not going your way, we were talking about things getting messy, that didn't stop me. So again, at the beginning, so today's the 31st of March, March the 1st, if you would have asked me, I would have said, oh, today I would be in Africa.
Yeah.
That was derailed for a purpose, for a reason, right? But instead of just saying, oh my gosh, and sulking because I didn't get to go to Africa, I didn't go to Paris, God just had me to redirect. I quickly put together the summit. I quickly reached out and leveraged my resources and my network and had an amazing, phenomenal event. I mean, women are pinging me, DMing me, sending me emails. They already want to know when the next one is. So that goes back to me saying, stop and smelling the roses. They already asked for the next. We just finished this morning at like 1:30 in the morning, my time. It was only supposed to be, it was said to be 4 hours on Sunday and then 2 hours on Monday. It ended up being like 7 hours yesterday.
Wow.
But they were engaged. It was pumping. The women were chatting. They were encouraging each other. They were sharing nuggets and tips on how to start your business, and just inspiring women to do more and to be more. And it was so Holy Ghost filled, and we were stepping out on faith. It was phenomenal. And so I say that to say that the technology wasn't perfect. There were some little hiccups with the technology. We finally got it fixed, but that didn't stop us. Sometimes when you're pressing towards your calling, when you're pressing towards what you know that you know that you know you're supposed to do on the inside of you, it's going to get a little messy.
Yeah.
But if you press towards the mark and you don't cower, right? You look fear in the face and you laugh, you will come out on the other side winning. I could have easily, when we started having technical issues, I just could have said, oh, I'm sorry, ladies, and sent out all this massive, like, oh, and then just shut it down. And I just kept going. I mean, I was frustrated, but I said
Yeah.
no, because there's a woman that needs to hear what one of my speakers has to say. There's a woman that needs to be encouraged to write her book. There's a woman that needs
Mm.
to know how to start her business. And because of her, whoever she was, I'm going to fix this and we're going to do this. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying?
Totally.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
woman of
Yeah.
mission, baby. Yes.
Yeah. It's totally that. I mean, and just now with this episode, like I was about to,
Mhm.
like I just kept talking, and I was like, I may have to edit this, which I don't do. I love to keep them raw and unedited, except for like
Sure.
the start and the end.
Right,
And then like
right.
I trusted that you would come back, and you did, and it all worked perfectly. I don't have to edit
See?
it out. It just flowed. Like that's the same thing.
But that's life. Like, we have these ideas. It's so crazy. We ask for something. This is what we want. And okay, this is what I want to happen in my life. But then we get upset when it comes in a different package, or it's not exactly the way. Like, we have to get out of this fake Cinderella story. Like, everything is going to be, oh, yes, whatever that is. I want the husband and the kids and the house and the car and the great job and the where you live at. There are things that are going to happen in your life that are going to knock you off of your position But the key is, what will you do when you're knocked? Will you fall and stay down? We're all going to be knocked at some point in life. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care what car you drive. I don't care what your position is in your job or in your business. We're all going to have things that impact us. We're all going to be knocked. But the question is, will you fall? And even if you fall, will you stay down?
Yeah.
So it's levels to this thing, you know? And so my whole thing is, I want people to have faith. I want them to know that they can do it and to keep their head up, because there is a silver lining on the other side if you keep pressing towards the mark and you don't
Yeah.
quit.
It reminds me of this story. I don't know if you've heard it. And there was this man like deserted on an island or something, and he prayed to God and asked God to send for help.
Mm-hmm.
And then this boat came with all these people, and he's like, "No, I'm waiting for God to help me." And then a helicopter came, and he's like, "No, I'm waiting for God to
Mm-hmm.
help me." And then all this stuff just kept coming, and he kept sending it away. And then like he died, and he went to heaven or wherever he went,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, "I asked you for help, God." And he's like, "Well, I sent you all these things, and that was me like sending it to you, and you just didn't respond." And
Oh my
it's
gosh,
like,
like I literally just told somebody that story. I mean, it was in the month of March. I literally, and I think I kind of tweaked it. I think I said he was in the ocean. I don't know if
yeah,
I said he was on an island. I think I said he was on a boat or something.
yeah, I
But the
don't know
same,
what it is,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. But it was the same concept. Like, yeah, like he's like, here you go. Here was the life raft. But because it didn't look like whatever he
yeah,
thought God looked like, so then he just, you died. Okay, you went to heaven or wherever you were gonna go, and now, that's great, but it's like, why didn't you help me? Well, I sent you 10 people to save your life. Well, it's the
yeah,
same thing with us, right? And that may look like a friend, that may look like a counselor or a mentor or your mate, or, opportunity. That opportunity, that mate, that friend, that whatever, may be the thing to help, maybe not life or death, save your life, but it may put you on the right course to change the trajectory of your whole life. But will you even have eyes to see it? Sometimes we can be so bogged down in our own troubles that we can't even see the help. We can't
yeah,
see the life raft. And so that's why, even when you said, like you said, some women might listen to this and they may not be believers in Christ, or they may not have any faith system, they may be atheists.
yeah,
Regardless, if you are in a situation where you can't see your way through, you need to find peace of mind. You
yeah,
cannot do anything in chaos. You must find clarity. You must have downtime. You must be able to therapeutically, without, doing anything harmful, because, people do different things for therapy, drugs and alcohol. I'm not saying that. I need you to be of a sober mind and think through that so that you can get to where you need to get
yeah,
to.
definitely,
Yeah, so that's for sure. So this was a
definitely.
perfect, see, they didn't even know we were doing an example for them with the Zoom going out. See, y'all just
Yeah, I
got
know,
blessed. They
it's
didn't even know
perfect, so
it.
perfect.
Perfect. That was a part of this.
So let me ask you this: what is the best compliment that you've ever received?
Oh gosh, that's a good one. Sheesh. You know what? I would say for me, I mean, of course, my husband. I love when he tells me I'm beautiful and things like that.
Yeah,
So that's, of course, that's a given. I love that compliment. But really and truly, again, I know it sounds like, okay, she going here again, but I'll be honest, just being who I am and who I know God has created me to be. Not that it's a what am I trying to say? Not that it's a tap on my shoulder or a at a girl type thing, but when people are able to see that I do have faith and that, I am a woman of God, that really is the best compliment for me, because my goal, no matter what I do, whether I'm publishing books, whether I'm speaking on international stages, whether I'm running a business, whatever I do, I want him to be glorified. And I want people to see light. When they look at me, I want them to see light and love and someone who is joyful, and so those fruits of the spirit, those positive things, that's what I want them to see. So if they see that, that's really the best compliment, because it's a reflection of who I know I am in him. And so, even though, oh, you're great, because I have some people, you're a great business savvy woman and all of that, and I appreciate that and I thank them for that. in the back of my mind is like, what? Well, do they know that I'm a woman of God? Well, do they
Yeah.
know? It's crazy. It's and they don't have to do that. And I'm okay with that. This is just me talking crazy in my own head. But for me, that's like the highest compliment.
Yeah.
It's to know that, I'm a woman of faith and that, I try to live right. Those things mean the most to me.
Mm.
Other than my husband telling me I'm gorgeous. So,
And what has some of your work done for a client that you didn't expect?
Man, again, the women have been blessed. So I'll use one example. One of my clients, her name is, she doesn't mind if I share, she's my client, so she's good with that. Her name is Dr. Radisha Brown. She is a licensed therapist, she likes to say mental wellologist, because she's all about the mind, the body, and the soul, and kind of going through all of that. Well, when we got together, and she's shared this testimonial, so I'm not sharing anything that she wouldn't want to be public or shared on your
Sure.
podcast. But she had told me she had wrote her own book before, and she was honest. She said it was a flop. She said she probably sold 10 copies. And so when we worked together, of course it became a bestseller. But what really astonished me and astonished her is where we went from. Her book came out last year in June. From having that book become a bestseller to us working together on a collaborative book called The Queen Experience Guide to Playing Your Royal Position, had 16 women from different areas all over, including Africa, Johannesburg, Africa. So it was an international book. And it was a bestseller, and she was a part of that. So she went from having a book that only sold 10 copies, that was a flop, that she did on her own. Those are her words, not me. Her words, to us partnering together, getting her book out in June of last year, it becoming a bestseller in 48 hours. Then we had worked on a collaborative book that came out in July, so like a month later, it was a bestseller. So she went from a book that was a flop to 2 best-selling books in less than 2 weeks with me partnering with her. Not that she did her portion, then I did mine, and we partnered together. And then she had dreams of taking that book and that message. It was called Girl, Get Off the Couch, Stop the Self-Hate, Lose the Weight, because she really helps women break down the mental depression so they can be healthy. Because a lot of times when you're depressed, you do eat. You eat food and ice cream and all that. Now you're unhealthy. Long story short, one of her dreams was to host a conference. She's a doctor, so she gets asked to speak quite frequently, different places, etc. But she had never hosted her own event. So that was a dream, almost like she put on her dream board, her vision board. And I said, let's do it. We're going to do it. We're going to do a conference. It's going to happen. And I'm proud to say that February the 1st of this year, 2020, so 8 months after her book came out, she was able to host her first conference. It was very successful. It was themed around her book and helping women. And it was just a dream that she had. So when we got together, originally that was not the thought. The thought was just let me help her with her book. But again, that goes back to when you're walking in your calling, and back to what you even said, you start seeing one piece of the picture and then another piece. And next thing you know, here we are, where yes, we do business together, but she's my sister in Christ. We're great friends now. We're working on multiple business projects together. And it's just the beginning. It hasn't even been a full year. It'll be a year since her book came out in June.
Wow.
But since then, we've got books, we've got conferences that she's hosted. She was a part of the panel for the summit that I just did the last 2 days. So it's like, it just goes, if you just take one step, one leap of faith, you don't even know what it's going to be. So everything is almost like, oh, wow, because that's not what we said when we originally partnered and got together. But a year later, and now we've done all these amazing things, and there's even more to come. Matter of fact, I had a meeting with her today. We had a business meeting talking about what we're doing for April and just forecasting in the future. So I know the best yet to come, and she's just one of many examples.
It's amazing. And what does elevating your life and soul mean to you?
I mean, you know what? It really is that same thing. When you're elevating your life, your soul, you're walking in your purpose for a purpose. I mean, I keep saying that, but it's so fundamental. I feel like I run into so many, not just women, men too. They're just aimlessly wandering through this life. And what do I mean? Do they look like zombies? Well, maybe right now because no, I'm just kidding. Not with everything that's going on. They don't look like zombies. Forgive me. That was, okay. The point that I'm trying to make the point that I'm trying to make is sometimes I feel like folks are just aimlessly, it's like any way the wind blows. They really don't have a sense of direction. They don't know where they want to go. It's like, oh, okay, I'll try that. Oh, okay, I'll try that. And it's a difference from how I spoke about earlier, enthusiastically saying yes, but it's yes to the right thing. So elevating your mind, your soul, your body, walking your purpose. That's really what that is. So what that means is in a tangible way for a listener would be me saying somebody asked me to participate or to do something. Is it in alignment with my overarching goals?
Yeah.
Is it in alignment with my overarching, if my life had a theme, whatever that theme is what I'm being asked to do, is what I'm getting ready to partake in, who I'm getting ready to be around. Is it a part? Is it in alignment with who I say I am? Is it in alignment with I say I want to be? Right. So when I think of this opportunity to be here with you, and obviously you had to research me, I had to research you, it's in alignment, right?
Yeah.
Empowering other women spiritually, all of that, it's in alignment with who I say I am. It's in alignment with who I say I want to be. It's in alignment. If Nakita had a theme for her life, it's in alignment. You see? So somebody could take that right there. Let me ask myself, is it in alignment with who I am, who I want to be, and my theme, for my
Yeah.
life? And if it is, then guess what? I'm elevating and moving and elevating in my soul and elevating in my life with my purpose. So I
Mm.
hope that makes sense.
It does make sense. It's beautiful. I love it. Um, and before I get you to share a little bit how people can connect with you and stuff, is there anything that you wish I'd asked you that I didn't?
Yeah, you could ask me how you could give me $1 million. And I would say, thank you for asking me that. And I will provide you my bank account when we finish. No, I'm just kidding. So, no, I'm just messing around. I
Yeah, I
love
love
to joke and have fun. And I feel like that's a part of life. As much as I am a woman of God, a woman of faith, as much as I am a businesswoman and, business moves and all of that, that's the age we're in. Everybody's a boss. Every girl boss, hashtag. And I use those hashtags too because I
yeah.
am, okay, I'm CEO, girl boss. But as much as I am all of those things, I love to have fun. Laughter makes the heart grow. Laughter is a part of living life. Laughter is a part of stopping and smelling the roses. So
Yeah.
I love to laugh, and I love to laugh often. And it's one of the reasons I married my husband, because he keeps me in tears laughing all the time. And sometimes I get a little angry, like I want to be serious, stop all this laughing, but for the most part, I do enjoy it. And that's why we're such a great fit. We partner and pair really, really well. If I'm being too serious, he makes me relax, and vice
Yeah.
versa. So that's good. But no, I thought you did a beautiful job. I
Oh,
mean, I feel
thank you.
like you captured the essence of what I do, who I am. I think it's pretty
Right.
clear who I am, what I do.
Yeah.
So no, I thought you did a great job.
Thank you. And so how can people connect with you, and what do you have like, what do you offer in terms?
Absolutely. So, the easiest way to connect with me, if God has placed a book on your heart and you are ready to birth that book, like you need to get it out, not right now, but right now. For all my mamas, they know what I mean. When it's cute, first trimester, you feeling sick and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Second trimester, you kicking it, you're good, you feel good, you're in the groove. That third trimester, you ready to get this baby out. If you're in your third trimester for your book, meaning you're ready to get this baby out, then you need to, you like the way I do that. No, but you need to, you can text publish me, that's all one word, PUBLISHME to 31996. If you're in the States, United States, if you're not, you can email me at Jesus Coffee and Prayer. That's all together one word, JESUSCOFFEEAND. I actually spell it out. Prayer, PRAYER at gmail.com. You can also go to my website, which is the same thing, www.jesuscoffeeandprayer.com. Not hard to find, Facebook and Instagram. You guessed it, Jesus Coffee and Prayer. So if you
Perfect.
remember that, if you just Google that, I promise you, you can find me. So, but if you are in the United States, you can text publish me to 31996 and then we can book a consultation. But otherwise, you can reach me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, with those handles. And you can visit the website.com.
And I'll
Right
put
now,
it in
I
the
am.
show notes too.
Yeah, and I know you're going to share it too. So it's super simple for that. But now, right now, I am working on a special project for my moms because, coronavirus got everybody thinking about everything. Everybody's, afraid and not thinking about life. But Mother's Day is around the corner, and moms, we deserve that day. I don't know about y'all, but I deserve my Mama's Day, okay?
Yeah.
So look, this month, and I know you do too, Queen. You got the 5-month old and
Thank
the
you.
4-year old. I know you deserve that Mama's Day because the babies, you love them. They will drive you up a wall. So I am doing something special for Mother's Day. We're doing a Mother's Day anthology. So if you're a boss mom and you feel that you've got words of wisdom, you have affirmations or positivity that you can help another sister do better and give her tangible tips that she can apply so she can have sanity and she can be a boss in home or in her business, then we really would love to hear from you as well. You can reach us at all of those outlets that she's going to share with you. And now, obviously, Mother's Day is May the 10th, so we don't have long. We really do have deadlines for submissions by April the 17th. But I'll be honest with you, if it sounds scary, all you're participating in is in one chapter. Typically 1,000 words to 1,500 words. Now, even if you're not the best writer ever, that's okay. It goes through the full publishing process, but that's something that you could sit down really truly and do in one day. So even
Yeah.
though you may catch this and it's like, oh my gosh, it's just a week away, baby, you can do it in one day and we're going to edit it. So it doesn't even have to be pristine. If you got nuggets, words of wisdom, and you want to share, I encourage you to be a part of this collaborative
Mm,
book.
sounds
I
amazing.
would love to have you. I mean, and you as well. Like,
Oh,
I'll send you
thank
the
you.
details also because we are international. So, guess what? You don't have to be just in the United States. You can be a part of it too, because the awesome thing is Amazon is everywhere. So
Yeah.
you would be able to get copies of the books. You would be able to sell the book as well. You keep all profit. So there's more details. Just reach out to me again on all those outlets. We would
Yeah.
love to have you be a part of something. Like I said earlier, it's a blessing for you, but it's bigger than you. To
Yeah.
look back, say, however old you are, where you are in that state, these were the words of wisdom that I can give to someone else, even the young moms, right? Just like I gave the example of my daughter being 12 and she could give encouragement and words of wisdom to another kid who's 12 or another kid that's 10. So I don't care if you're 21 and your baby is 1, you've learned something that you did not know. Okay,
Yeah.
when you had that baby. So share that with someone else because somebody needs to hear from you how you were able to boss up, be a boss mom, take care of your kids, and handle your business. So reach out to me. I'd love to have you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for being here today, Nikita. It's been amazing. I've really, really enjoyed talking to you. Yeah, so thank you. And I hope you have an amazing day.
Absolutely, and thank you. Bless your all of your community and everything that you do, your children, your family, and I look forward to connecting with you soon. Thank you so much.